Hello and welcome to this SUPboarder video where I'm here with two very special guests today. We're going to be talking about their recent Norway stand-up paddleboard adventure where they circumnavigated the Lofoten Islands in the Arctic Circle. I'm here with Rachel Martin and Donna Lou Nixon. Thanks so much for being here. I'm very excited to chat to you about this adventure.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, no, it's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks. So first off, let's introduce you guys because a lot of us don't know who you are. So Rachel, do you want to start off by introducing yourself first?
Yeah, so hi, I'm Rachel Martin. I live in Brighton and I have been paddleboarding for over 10 years now. I got my first board, but this is by far and beyond the biggest paddleboard that I've done, adventure that I've done.
Amazing. Have you done a few other kind of expeditions or kind of notable
so prior to this, I paddleboarded across the English Channel from England to France. Ended up in a very nice wine bar, and then I met Donna Lou in Norway last year in the Norwegian fjords, and that was just like a 4-day tour that Donna Lou was guiding at. So I hadn't done any big multi-day adventure type paddles prior to this one, but I kind of got my SUP stripes through the years of just paddling and pootling around as well.
Yeah, nice. So something that was kind of exciting for you to go and
100%.
do. Yeah. Nice.
And scary.
Yeah. We'll get into that part soon.
No.
And Donna Lou, she's my mum actually, so I might call her mum throughout this. But yeah, Donna Lou, can you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, I'm Donna Lou Nixon, 62. I live in Australia, and I met Rachel in Norway last year. And I've been paddling for, I think, 15 years. I'm not sure. Done lots of expeditions solo, all solo, like Norway, Australia, New Zealand, lots of places, and love it. And for this one, I just needed a good wingman buddy, and I picked the right one. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
That's good.
That's great. So you've done a lot of solo paddles,
yeah.
as you mentioned. Can you just elaborate on a little bit more of what you've done previously?
So I just run away virtually. I plan out paddles. I've done 600 kilometres on the Murrumbidgee in Australia. I've done 650 in Norway. I've done a couple in Norway actually. 250 k's in New Zealand, and lots of. I've done the Brompton SUP overland paddle SUP cycle thing for 14 days. Just travelling from my house up the coast. So, yeah, it's good. The longer the better. The longer the better. Yeah.
So if you haven't seen the video yet of their Norway SUP expedition, please do go and check it out. It's up on the SUPboarder website now, so it's going to be linked in the description below as well. So make sure you do go and watch it because we're going to be talking about that right now. So to start off with, Mum, do you want to just tell us some of the highlights that you experienced on the paddle?
Oh, everything. Scenery, water, company, everything. It was just amazing.
What was one of your highlights, or a few of your highlights, Rachel?
The incredible, awe-inspiring scenery, the likes that I had never seen before. I'd never been to that kind of part of the world. Obviously, we'd been in the fjords the year before, but this was just something else. And the beaches where we were wild camping, I mean, you could have been in the Caribbean on some of these beaches, minus the palm trees and the weather, and incredible nature as well. Like, you know, we saw whales and porpoises, incredible like
seals.
Birds, but the seals, the incredible bird life that we saw, just all of it, just incredible. And then obviously, you know, getting to paddle with one of the most incredible women I ever had the opportunity to meet. So yeah,
that's nice.
Pay me later.
Yeah.
It looked like an absolutely amazing adventure and something that a lot of people might be aspiring to in their SUP journey as well, to go out and adventure and do these things. But there is some, you know, there's obviously some close calls sometimes on these adventures. And we chatted before we got on camera now about a close call that you had. Do you just want to, Rachel, maybe start off by telling us about a close call?
Day one. It started off incredibly. We had just the most perfect conditions on this day. The sea was like glass, and we'd been paddling. I think we were paddling for about 9 hours. We were stood up on that day, and we were covering quite a lot of kilometres. And we got to the end of the day, and actually just before we sat having lunch on one of these beautiful beaches. And I think I was referring to the fact that if the rest of the trip goes like this morning, it's just going to be a walk in the park. To which, pretty sure Donna Lou turned around and said, "You never know what's around the corner." And lo and behold, that's what happened. So at the end of the day, we had a crossing to do to get to this little beach that was beautiful that we were going to be wild camping on. And I think you checked, it was how many meters?
700 meters.
700 meters. So it wasn't a big crossing. No. And we regrouped, we got together and we started the crossing. And I think we got, pretty much near to halfway point, and all of a sudden, at the top end of this island that we were heading to Wild Camp, a massive passenger ship turned up. And our first thought was that it was going to be going out to sea, that it wouldn't be going through this little channel that we were crossing.
But 700 meters wide.
Yeah, exactly. And then all of a sudden, it literally, as you term it, it turned on a dime and started heading towards us. But we were already committed, so we had to. There was no going back. We could only go forward because we didn't know what direction, what channel the boat was going to take. So we continued. Donna Lou is by far the most stronger paddler, so she was only slightly in front, but doing words of encouragement of you can do it, and then she said, "Don't look at the boat," and as soon as someone tells you not to do something, of course you're going to do it. So I turned and saw this boat looming towards me, and on my direct kind of path, and I knew that actually I had to really dig in and start paddling fast to get out of its path. And Donna Lou changed just one word, but her intonation changed as well to, "You have to do it, you have to do it." And it was just like, okay,
you have to.
Yeah. And so it was at that point that I realized that actually I have to do this.
And all I could hear was, "Oh, I'm like, oh, just do it."
Yeah, I went very guttural in my response to my paddle to try and paddle as quickly as I could, but apparently obviously survived it. But afterwards, I think you were saying it was 2 paddle strokes.
If you had a faltered, it would have been a big problem.
Yeah.
And then someone on the deck. All we could hear was this very slow, shocked clap.
Yeah. What did we just witness?
And there was no wake, which was incredible.
Yeah. But then we got into the island. It was this beautiful island, and we gave each other a hug. And there was no doubt in my mind that I was just going to continue with this journey, and that was obviously a close call and not one that I ever want to have again. And there was learnings from that. But yeah, it wasn't going to stop me kind of continuing. So day one.
And nothing we could have done would have changed the outcome.
No, I don't believe so.
We've been over this 100 times.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we were 700-meter channel, we're halfway.
Yeah.
We saw it coming, and then we just couldn't go back.
No.
And and it was hooting. It was really hooting.
Yeah, exactly. It was just.
Yeah. But
bad,
I think
bad luck and timing.
Yeah.
I think there's probably one a week that goes through there.
It was probably sent to us on day one to say, "Hey,
watch out."
Yeah. This isn't a walk in the park.
Exactly, and I think that definitely helped me because every time I saw a boat, even if it was like a mile away, I'd be like, "Donna Lou, there's a boat, there's a boat."
It's 4 days away.
4 days.
Well, yeah. I mean, well done for getting through that experience and doing that.
She was great.
For sure.
You were great.
Yeah, I mean, you
were great.
You have to, right?
Yeah, you do. Exactly. That's so true. But you obviously knew all that there were going to be ferry routes. There were going to be
Yeah.
ships
Yeah.
in there
And
all done well, and you'd plan that as well. But
Yeah.
sometimes things just
Exactly.
appear out of nowhere.
Well, that's it. I mean, we were checking the ferry lines and on the maps, like looking at where obviously the ferry goes. But there are so many as well, around these islands.
We'd always check and then group, then check and then
crossings.
go.
Yeah,
Always.
yeah,
Yeah. The last one, end of the day, you're tired.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
That was good. Well done.
We survived.
Exactly.
We did it. You can do it.
You did it.
Well, I can see that the two of you get along very, very well, which is great, especially for such a long expedition. But before that, you'd only met each other for a few days in Norway, as you mentioned at the start, just on a tour in the fjords of Norway. What was the dynamic like on this trip, being so different to that from when you met?
Well, that 5 days, we probably only talked 3 times. And one of the conversations went like, she said, I'm always up for it. I've paddled the English Channel, I knew that, and I saw she was a strong paddler. And then she said, when I get asked for things, I always say yes. I don't say no. I always say yes. And I went, ah. So I kept that in my mind. And I'm always solo paddler, but this one I needed someone. Yeah, it was just a bit more dangerous. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
got the right girl.
It was. Thank you.
Yeah.
It was. It was. I guess it was a gamble in some ways because we didn't really know each other that well, but I definitely got the essence of Donna Lou and what a brilliant woman she is. But spending all that time in the Arctic paddling, it could have gone one of two ways, and we just completely bonded. I think like Donna Lou's like outlook was similar to mine, and that kind of like just enjoying it, having fun with it. So
that was the main thing.
Yeah. So like we talked about like near miss and this, that, and the other, but we always kind of like did things with joy and with fun and saw the humor in everything, and we've both got shocking singing voices. Don't mind airing it to each other. And just like I think the outlook and and I learned so much from Donna Lou in terms of like resilience and just having fun in life, enjoying it and embracing everything. I could say I made a mistake of saying that I say yes to adventure, but I'm so glad that I said that to Donna Lou and she listened and she remembered and she asked me. So
no, it was great. No, and the beauty is we met in Norway, talked to each a couple of times, but the next time I contacted her was months later. January, from July to January, and that was when, hi, do you want to come and paddle Lofoten with me? And we hadn't kept in touch. We weren't like buddies. No. Now we are.
Yeah.
Inseparable.
Yeah.
But her mental strength is brilliant. I knew that. And I knew she was a strong paddler, and I knew she'd done the English Channel. But we just, it worked out really, really well.
Really well.
Yeah, your mental strength is, that's what you need. Yeah. You really need.
And humour.
Yeah, and humour. Yeah, and same humour. Yeah. Although I am funnier.
Not true.
We'll let you decide. But that's great. I think that's what you need on a trip like that, is like-minded individuals.
Yeah.
Because inevitably there's going to be, cases where you're going to have to decide what to do next. And if the weather changes, you're going to have to sit down and plan a route. Yeah. There sometimes can be some competing. And
the first thing we said before we went, safety, safety, safety first. If it doesn't look, then we don't do it. And just safety first. Yeah. And if we're not enjoying it, don't do it. Yeah. And what's the use of not enjoying it? Yeah. Yeah.
So setting those kind of those limits.
We're not out to beat anyone or anything. We're out to have fun.
Exactly.
Try and do something that maybe we can do, maybe we can't. So. But we did.
You did.
But we did. Yeah.
Oh, amazing. And why was Norway? Why was the choice to be Norway, to be the Lofoten Islands? Was that something that you discussed together, or?
I'd cycled it 3 years earlier on the Brompton, 300 k's. It was great. And as I'm cycling, I'm going, oh, you could sup that. Oh, you could sup that. But I knew, because I was a solo paddler, I knew I couldn't do it by myself because the currents and tides and everything, and changeable weather. And so I always kept that in my mind that I wanted to do it. And then I found, someone.
I had
someone that said yes.
I said yes before I even knew exactly where these islands were. I think I was in India traveling when you sent me
yes, right.
request, or, asked me if I wanted to join you. So I was like, yeah, why not? And then I started looking at it and realized that it was like in the Arctic Circle, and then looking at photos of it, it felt like it was like Middle Earth. It was so like prehistoric looking and incredible. And it was like, wow, I'm going to the Arctic.
Yeah, I'm glad you said yes. Yeah.
So moving on to some of the questions we've been sent in from you, the readers and viewers of the video. Thank you so much for sharing these questions. First one is, do you need a lot of experience to be able to do a trip like this?
You need to know your stuff. You need to know all about the area you're going to. You need to know the current, the wind, the tide, everything, conditions, weather, how fast it changes. You just can't go like if you don't know your stuff.
No, you can't.
Yeah,
you can't wing that for sure.
You can't.
And I think, and also just in terms of being able to paddle and to kind of like have the confidence in that paddling, because even though you would have all that information to hand, it would change, because you would get the wind kind of predictions, but then you'll be out on the water and it would look very different to what you were thinking it was going to look like, and having to think on your feet as well in terms of the routes and which way you're going to go, as you're doing it sometimes because of the changes in the wind that we experience.
You got to read the water, haven't you?
Exactly, and have that understanding of it. So I would say, if you're not experienced, don't go and try and do this.
And if you're a doubter or you're not confident, confidence is a big thing, because that'll really cause you trouble.
Yeah,
if you're not confident.
Yeah,
you might start out confident, and then halfway across the paddle, you might have doubt. Don't ever have doubt.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. Just having that strength of mind.
Yeah, commit.
You can do it.
So if we did have some viewers out there that wanted to aspire to do something such as the Lofoten circumnavigation that you've done, but they maybe don't have quite the experience just as yet, where's a good starting place for them to get a bit more experience, get into a bit more SUP touring, exploring, and maybe how to read those weather conditions?
Oh, just start with overnighters. Like, definitely start with overnighters. Ocean paddling's a lot different to rivers, so definitely start in rivers, lakes, rivers. Yeah, I've been doing a lot of expeditions, but this was my first ocean, so it was a totally different game. Yeah, that's why I took someone with me.
Yes.
Yeah. Not just anyone. Yeah.
Would you have any tips, Rachel, for someone starting out in SUP touring?
I mean, I personally, I had joined a tour for my first multi-day kind of experience, and that was great because it gave me kind of insight into what that looked like. But then obviously I jumped straight into the Arctic expedition. Not sure where we go from there.
Cool. But yeah, I think definitely starting on those overnight adventures, somewhere local as well, somewhere that you've got phone signal and you can got all their safety. But like you said before, safety first comes with everything. So understanding that. There are some courses out there as well, especially sailing courses, to start to read the weather and things like that too. Yeah. Lots of online resources as well. And then as you said, Rachel, there's those SUP groups that organise tours and things, and it's great to get your feet wet up a little bit and doing those touring and staying, camping out overnight and doing all that kind of adventurous stuff. So there's definitely, there's stepping stones to be able to reach out. We've got a lot of, videos and a lot of information on SUPboarder website as well that's going to help you get into SUP touring, and I'll also link to that in the description below. Next question from one of our readers is, how do you go about getting sponsorship for an adventure like this? Because we know that you did have some sponsors for this one, but also Donna Lou, you've done a few adventures in the past without some sponsors. So, how do you kind of pick and choose when to get sponsorship or when not to for an adventure?
Well, all my other paddles, I never had sponsorship, as you mentioned, because I didn't think I had anything to sell them, because I did it for myself. I enjoyed it, and I just did it. But this one was different. This was the Arctic Circle. This was Lofoten, and my knowledge is that we may be the first people to actually do it on SUP. So, and 2 women, and accomplished suppers, I thought, well, why not? And I didn't want any gear. I wanted the best gear. I knew we needed, because it was dangerous and more dangerous. And we wanted the best gear, definitely. So I looked at what board would be the best, and I really, really liked the Curock 13-foot all water. Fantastic, fantastic board.
It really was.
It was really good. And the palm equipment, I've seen the reviews on SUPboarder with the palm equipment. Brilliant again. And I just emailed them out of the blue, and I thought, oh, well, all I can do is say no. And they said yes. And what gear.
It was amazing.
Amazing gear, both of them. Like that board, you could pack it anyway. Like you didn't have to really, you had to pack it with the weight towards your feet, but you didn't have to really, really consider it, did you?
No, it was
Especially
really stable.
Yeah.
Really stable and powered through. So
and the gear was warm, dry.
Yeah.
None of this wet feet all day.
No.
And that was great.
Really good. And actually, like the palm gear, like the palm bags actually doubled up, didn't they?
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, tell them.
You tell them. You came up with the system.
No.
It was genius.
It was still.
You go.
Oh. So we were stuck on an island for a couple of days. We had, how much water did we have?
2 litres.
We had 2 litres, and we knew we were there for at least 2 days. And we thought, And
well, we tried to leave. It was a crossing, but the wind was blowing north, and we tried to leave. I think we got to a little kind of outcrop, and about a third of the way on this crossing, you refer to it as hanging out,
hanging out on a rock for a little while.
A rock. I refer to it as hanging on to a rock, because the next stop was Greenland, right?
Yeah.
So we ended up like realizing that no, it was too dangerous for us to continue that crossing. So we went back to this little island, which was just beautiful.
Amazing.
And stunning. And yeah, we stuck there for a few days, but then we knew that we were running out of water, so it was a little bit like, Christ, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
You came up with a brilliant idea.
In that 3 weeks, that was the only time it rained.
Yeah.
And it rained, and we got the palm dry bags out. We put them up, and they just caught heaps of water.
Yeah.
We had too much water.
Yeah. It was genius. It was pure
great.
Genius.
Yeah. Worked well.
So thanks, Palm.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Thanks, Palm. But yeah, so the sponsorship, you obviously need to have something to offer companies that are going to be, attractive to kind of promote and things like that.
Yeah.
Obviously, 2 women being the first to, even the first stand-up paddlers to really do that island chain in the Arctic Circle, is a big thing. But as far as someone else looking for sponsorship, what would be some steps for them, you think, to take? Maybe get a bit few adventures under their belt to start with, or
definitely. People don't give you things for nothing, and you've really got to have something to offer them. Like, it's a deal. It's a 2-way street. Like, it's even. So if you've got something great to offer, you can just approach them. Yeah.
Don't be scared to approach them.
No, don't be scared. I mean, all I can do is say no. That doesn't hurt.
No.
And but don't just go for anything. Like, don't just because you want a sponsor. Know what you want. Like, own it. Own it.
Yeah, it's a case of aligning yourself with the brands that align with your values,
ones that suit you,
and ones that suit you. If you've got that environmental ethos, you're going to be aligning yourself with that.
Exactly.
If you need certain gear, you need to make sure you're getting the right gear for that adventure too, not just anything. So the final question from the viewers and readers was, how do you go about planning something like this? Because it is an area with lots of current. It is in the Arctic Circle. Not really know what to expect. 24 hours of daylight as well in the summer. Talk us through about step-by-step planning, or just a kind of a brief overview of how you went about starting to even think about this.
So we bought a lot of maps.
We read a lot.
I mean, there was maps that were the size of like this table, the size of these maps, that we didn't realise how big they were going to be when we got them. And we read a lot about the kind of like, obviously the different tides. Kayakers, there's been a lot of kayakers that have actually, done the circumnavigation around the islands. So there was a lot of information out there about the different tides.
And you did email a couple.
Yeah, and we got in touch to kind of get kind of insider tips. Google Maps obviously was super useful in terms of, finding where the spots were where we could wild camp. So where it looked like it might be flat, and the little islands. The maelstrom, which is basically what the Lofoten Islands is famous for, is this maelstrom, which is right at the southern tip of the islands, which is basically a whirlpool, effectively.
Right.
But it's one of the largest and most dangerous whirlpools in the world. So
let's paddle there.
On day one.
Yeah.
Let's try that.
Well, and that was the thing. There was only we were there for just under a month,
Yeah.
and within that time there was only 2 set dates where we could actually cross the maelstrom because of it being on the neap.
Yeah.
And we arrived there, and the conditions were looking good for us to try and do that, but it was too audacious a thing for us to do on day one,
And
because
then the conditions changed.
and then they did change, and the problem is once we got past the maelstrom, it was going to be a large area where we were going to be out of kind of any kind of signal for us to be able to check any weather changes and the kind of the camping side of things as well. So you've got to really plan it, and you've got to really understand where you're going. And so there was a lot of reading, a lot of asking questions to understand that.
But also day one was we've just met up again after we don't really know each other, and we're on new boards, new gear, and to hit the maelstrom on day one, like that was another consideration we had. We knew we could do it, but it had to all work, and then we realised we're going to be out of range. There was just too many factors.
Yes,
and as we said, safety first.
exactly.
If in doubt, leave it out.
Exactly. And then the planning in terms of obviously all the gear we mentioned about, getting great sponsorship from Palm Equipment and Kurok, but it was also all the other stuff that goes into it, right? So we were wild camping, and we were wanting to take the absolute bare minimum because of weight. I think we ended up with about 25 kilograms each. In total, something like that of what we were carrying, but that obviously included our food, included water, and so on. So it was a mission, and there was a lot involved in the before, us even like booking plane tickets to get to the Lofoten Islands. So it's a big undertaking, an adventure like what we've done, but really interesting to understand all those different elements that you need, and
all the planning in the world you can just it did every day. It changed. We had plan and it changed. We were constantly looking at the weather.
Yes,
constantly, because it would change.
Yeah, but then you would have conflicting, you'd be looking at 2 weather sources for the wind, and you'd be getting like conflicting information as well. So, it was often a time where you would have to just be looking out at the conditions and saying, is this the right time or not?
Yeah, and Rachel mentioned that we had 25 kilos of weight each, and we used everything we had. We didn't overpack. It was what we needed, exactly what we needed. But every afternoon, those portages were brutal because it wasn't always flat, especially on the southeast side. It's rocky. And the weather changed like that. So 1 minute it's beautiful paddling and you're singing and having fun, and the next minute you're like hanging on, hanging on.
Yeah,
and then just finding somewhere to stop.
Yeah,
and just searching. So you'd find it and you'd carry all your gear up. And then you look out and all the water's gone.
So it's a big tidal difference.
Oh, huge tidal difference. I mean, but some of those portages would take us 2 hours.
Yeah, 2 hours.
To get all the equipment up from the water to a place that was flat enough for us to obviously pitch our tents. And it was over slippery rocks with seaweed, and then going up kind of mountain sides and bogs. And then like as Donna Lou mentioned, I mean this one particular one, I think like we'd landed and the wind had changed, and we'd landed and it was just enough space for like two tents for us to basically pitch our tents on, and then I think you'd gone to lay down to have a little sleep. She loves her sleep, and and I woke up like an hour later, and I stepped out of the tent, and yeah, the tide had started to go out, and it was like a massive big boulder in this channel that we had used to kind of like get onto land, going, oh, this is going to be interesting to like get back off. But yeah, the portages were hell.
That was the only time we sat there eating and not talking. We were like, we were shattered.
So tired from it.
So tired.
Yeah, and that's obviously on the end of a 4-day paddling. So yeah, you had to have good strength for that. Certainly built some muscles up.
We just got on so well. Like we had the toughest, like tough. And this wasn't just once, twice. It was like 10 or 12 nights. Just heavy portages, and they wake up the next morning knowing you got to take it all back.
Yeah,
and we were singing halfway through.
I know. Even on the last night, remember, like to get into that was terrible.
That was worse. Yeah, I know.
So, what was the best thing that you took with you on the expedition?
Mine was Rachel.
Oh,
because I'm always solo, but I chose the perfect person.
Oh,
no, it was great. You were good. Oh. Your mental strength is very admirable.
Oh, I love you. Yeah.
I know.
Mine was my chair. Yes. No, obviously it was Donna Lou, obviously, but in terms of an object, it was definitely, and this was your advice actually. It was the chair, taking a chair, which everyone, when I mentioned that I was taking a chair like on a board, they were like, what? But it was honestly the best thing to have, because at the end of the day, when you finish all the portages we've mentioned and all the paddling and all the the stress and the elation and so on, and sitting down on the chair was just with a cup of tea was just
it
perfect.
was.
Was there anything else you'd like to add to this conversation? Maybe anything you've thought of during this, or anything else?
I just like, it's thanks to Donna Lou that I got to experience this. I don't think it was something that I would ever have thought of myself, because it's a little bit crazy. But I loved every minute of it, and I got to meet an incredible woman and hang out with a incredible woman that has taught me so much, least of all how to paddle, but yeah, so much about life and resilience, and I'm super honoured to have met you, and I can't wait for the next one.
Yeah, I've got a true friend, good paddle buddy.
100%.
Yeah, we did a lot of laughing.
Yeah,
a lot in bad times.
Yeah. And in good as well.
And in good. No, it was tough.
It was.
Yeah, that was great.
Oh, that's nice. And you kind of alluded to the fact that there might be another paddle coming up.
Oh, we're checking it out. We're checking it out. We don't know yet. Yeah, we're definitely another paddle.
Yeah, 100%.
But we just don't know where.
Yeah.
It's got to feel right. It's got to feel right, hasn't it? It's got to. Yeah.
Well, we look forward to seeing what you get up to next. It's very exciting.
Yeah. You've got to enjoy what you've just done too for a while.
Exactly.
I like doing that.
Exactly.
Reliving the memories. And,
Otherwise, it's just just goes to the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your insights into this journey, and it's been amazing listening to you, and obviously from watching that video, it just looked like an epic adventure.
That's great.
And yeah, again, just thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Oh. I hope you really enjoyed this SUPboarder video, the interview with Rachel and Donna Lou. If you do have any questions or comments, please do leave them in the comment boxes below. Happily get back to you with any answers from these girls as well. So thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll see you in another SUPboarder video really soon.